Here recently, smartwatches have really taken off in popularity, and you see them just about on everyone's wrist, whether you're at the coffee shop, at the grocery store, out walking. Most people have them at this point. It's pretty obvious if you're running an iPhone, a lot of people are running that Apple Watch. But if you're running an Android device, what is going to be the best smartwatch for you? I'm Beth Motter here with Matt Miller. Matt, there seems to be a few different options for Android users. What do you recommend as some of the top smartwatches for them?
Yeah, there are many options available, and I kind of break it down into three camps, right? So there's the Samsung watches, which currently run the Tizen operating system that is made by Samsung. Then we have Google's Wear OS platform that is, of course, powered by Google. And then there's what's called RTOS, real-time operating system. And that's an operating system that is applicable to the manufacturer's watch itself. So let's talk a little bit about these. I'll kind of explain them and break them down a little bit. So with Samsung, we currently have two really good watches. There's the Galaxy Watch 3 and the Galaxy Watch Active 2. Everything about the software and how they operate and function is the same between these two watches. It really comes down to a pricing and style difference. The Watch 3 is a bigger watch, and it has a physical rotating bezel. So you actually spin the dial around and around, and that actually goes through scrolling lists or changing apps and things. It's a very nice UI element. The Galaxy Watch Active 2, that is a digital bezel. So there's no spinning mechanism, but you can actually rub your finger around the outside of the watch and have that same kind of effect. These are great watches, probably the best watches to rival the Apple Watch for
Mhm.
Android users. Even though they're Samsung watches, they work with a Samsung device and also other Android devices. They're very, very powerful. They have LTE options, so you can have a cellular option with it as well. The one thing to keep in mind is both of these two watches are a year or two old, and we have very strong rumors. I mean, there's pictures and leaks and specs of the Galaxy Watch 4 possibly coming out in August. And the big deal about this one is that at Google's recent OI conference, Google and Samsung made a joint announcement where Samsung will be adopting Google's Wear OS platform and mixing it with Samsung's goodies. So we're going to see something new that's
Yeah.
not Tizen coming out pretty soon. So that's pretty exciting actually to keep an eye on that space.
Yeah.
If you're considering the Samsung Galaxy Watch, I would wait a little bit because you'll see even a further price drop in those two
Absolutely.
Tizen ones. Uh, so the other platform, kind of mentioning that, is Google's Wear OS. Now, I've always kind of made fun of it when I do these reviews because Google hasn't put a lot of focus into Wear OS. It used to be called, I think it was Watch. No, let's see, Google Wear or Android Wear, and then it's now Google Wear. It used to be Android Wear. It's now Google Wear, but it's never seemed like Google's put a lot of effort into developing this platform for their watches. And the best watch currently for this platform is Mobivoy's TicWatch Pro 3, because it runs the latest Qualcomm Snapdragon processor. It's called Wear 4100. It's only a $300 watch. It's very powerful. It has a very interesting, I don't know if you've seen it. It actually has two displays on it. It has a kind of a monochrome layer display on top and then a normal colored OLED display. And you can switch to that monochrome display and the watch will last you like 30 days. It goes forever, which is pretty cool. Um, but that watch has, it has Google Pay, it has Google Assistant,
Mhm.
it has all the other Google apps. It has a very good third-party app support and things like that. So if you're looking for, you're a fan of everything Google, that's probably the top one to get. There's also a Fossil Gen 5 smartwatch that runs the older Snapdragon Wear, and there's rumors, again, more rumors of Fossil coming out with a Gen 6 that has this Snapdragon Wear 4100 processor. So I probably wouldn't buy a Fossil one right now, just because there's wait till the latest platform that has better battery
Absolutely.
life and everything else.
Yeah.
And then I'd mentioned this real-time operating system. So manufacturers have their own specific operating systems that they create, which are very focused on usability for a watch platform. And the benefits that you get with these are very long battery life. I mean, you'll see 2 weeks, 3 weeks, so
Mhm.
very long battery life, very affordable watches. Um, Lots of watch faces, but not very many third-party apps. So the apps that are provided by the watch manufacturer are pretty much all the apps that you can get. Now, if in some cases, a lot of people use their watch for the very basics, all of the health things, the
Mhm.
time, reminders. You not everybody may use a lot of third-party apps. So if you don't, then these real-time operating system ones are very good options, right? And a brand new one that we have, this is one I actually have to go buy probably after this video because I haven't tested it yet, is the OnePlus watch. And we've talked in the past about OnePlus phones. This is their first watch entry. It's only $159. It almost looks exactly like the Galaxy Watch Active 2 as far as the form factor, beautiful OLED display, all of that kind of stuff, a very long battery life. So that's a good option. And then Amazfit is a company that has been making a lot of smartwatches lately. They have the GTR2, again, $160, so very affordable.
Mhm.
And something that they're offering that's pretty unique is they actually have Amazon Alexa voice assistant support. I mentioned Google Assistant is
Mhm.
in the Google watches. The Samsung watches have their Bixby service in there, but the GTR2 from Amazfit has Alexa. Plus, it has a mic and a speaker, so you can actually take phone calls through your phone connection on the watch itself. So that's a great option, and only $160. I mean, you can try it, and
Yeah.
you're not a big loss if you don't really like it, but that's a good
Yeah.
option. And then, of course, just kind of close out things, we do have the Fitbit, right? And Fitbit is really well known for health and activity trackers,
Mhm.
but their Sense is a pretty good smartwatch. And I don't know if you recall, but Google bought Fitbit a couple of
Yeah.
years ago. And so that integration keeps growing. We
Mhm.
just saw a software update for the Fitbit Sense that adds Google Assistant and phone call support to the Fitbit Sense, which I wouldn't have considered a Fitbit as a smartwatch, but
Yeah.
with adding those functions, I've elevated it to okay, you now have Google Assistant, you now have phone call support and all the other things. So, that's a pretty good smartwatch option as well.
Yeah, I'd say that definitely jumps into that smartwatch category. Last question. If you have an iPhone, so I know the Apple Watch just runs on Apple devices. Do any of these watches run on iOS? And maybe what would be the draw for me to give up my Apple Watch to go to those to run with my iPhone?
Yeah. So actually, every one of these will run in an will work with an iPhone. Um,
Okay.
so you have the
That's
choice of
surprising.
all of these with an iPhone. And I think there's a couple of reasons why you know, you might consider this, right?
Mhm.
The Apple Watch, as you know, is a square form factor, kind of a unique watch form factor. A lot of these are typical round smartwatch form factors. So some people like the form factor. You can get a bigger or smaller. One of the biggest things is every one of these, except for the Galaxy watches are pretty close to the Apple Watch in terms of battery life, but all the rest of these, you're getting a week to 2 week or more. And I have to say, I'm a kind of I used to watch so many watches. I usually have two on my wrist. It's kind of refreshing to go with a watch that will last you a week without thinking about charging it.
I
Because the
can't
Apple
imagine.
Watch, you probably charge it every night, right?
Every night.
Yeah. And it's very refreshing to have a watch that just lasts a week. You don't
Oh,
even think about it. Yeah.
I can't imagine.
So, battery life, form factor, and then price, right? I mean, as I
Mhm.
mentioned, there's options as low as 160 here.
Yeah.
And if you just don't want to spend that on an Apple Watch, it's an option. So that, these are good choices for iPhone users too that don't necessarily want an Apple Watch.
Yeah, all really good points. And I was not expecting all of these watches to be compatible with iOS. So, any of these watches that Matt has mentioned, you can run on your Android device. and your iOS device. That's really, really good to know. Matt Miller, thank you so much for compiling this list for us. As always, down below this video, we have links to all these watches. We'd love for you to test them out yourself and let us know what you think. As always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, drop us a comment if you really like one of these watches or if you really don't like one of these watches. As always, for all things tech, be sure to stick with ZDNet.